Are you ready for rapid fire?
It's early, but I'm ready, baby.
It is early.
I'm ready.
We're bringing it early tonight because again, we've got a lot of stuff going on. Vince has got places he's got to go later on as well. So we're trying not to fly through this thing. We're still trying to to talk about all the stuff that we need to talk about. But like I said, we've got Jared Lloyd, BYU reporter, coming up in a little bit here as well. So first question, Vince. I'm anxious to see if you've done your homework here because Notre Dame is playing BYU in Vegas, of course, this week.
Yep.
So we can't have just one little bet. We need a big, bold wager with them going to Vegas. So what I need from you is a college football parlay for this weekend that has at least 4 legs to it.
Oh, my goodness gracious. All right.
I don't think you did your homework.
I did not do my homework. It was a busy day today at school. I did not do my homework. I'll let you go first.
Okay.
And then I will get it. Don't worry.
Okay. So here's my parlay. And I was toying with the second parlay after this, but I've already got this one out and ready. So mine starts tomorrow night. I've got Rutgers +3 at home against Nebraska.
Okay. Okay.
Are we?
Nebraska's a dumpster fire, so I like that. Yeah. I mean, and Rutgers is solid-ish, so they're better than Nebraska. And the fact that Nebraska
they're at home,
exactly. And the fact that Nebraska is a minus on that one is shocking to me. So I like that one.
Okay, so then my second leg.
Okay,
I've got Kansas, of course, +7. They're at home against TCU Saturday. I like a lot of points in that game, but I like Kansas +7 in this game.
Okay. Oh, okay. I like that too because I think Kansas. I don't know that Kansas is going to win. I think actually, now that you mention it, in my picks, we picked this game, and I don't think those come live until tomorrow. But I picked TCU to win, but I said take Kansas in the points. Yeah. So, boom.
It's I can't pick against them at this point.
I get you.
My head is telling me I probably should, but they're still undefeated, and I've been riding them pretty much every week in my picks. Even though, again, we do. Brian makes us do these picks every week,
yes, he
right?
does.
And then the last thing he says is give me an upset pick.
Yeah.
And I've probably picked at least 3 of the 5 upsets. I can't remember if I got last week's not, but we don't get any credit for the upsets.
We get no credit for those. I know.
And that ticks me off.
I know.
I've called some pretty good upsets, I think, so far.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a little upset about that myself.
Okay, so the third leg of my 5-leg parlay, I've got Arkansas +8.5 at Mississippi State.
Look at all the dogs, man. Look at you.
I like these. I like these dogs.
Yeah, and
I've got one favorite actually.
It's funny because you're all over this, right? My upset pick was Arkansas over Mississippi State straight up.
Okay.
So that was my That's my upset pick for the week. So you and I are right there, buddy. We're right there. I'm telling you.
Brian asked if they should expect to see me in the crowd, blank-faced, drunk on College Game Day live. I will be in spirit. I'll be sitting here watching. I'm anxious to see where they set up for that, but I'll be here. I won't be there. I won't be blank-faced.
Yeah.
Over there. Okay. So my next leg, leg 4, I've got Oklahoma +7.5 against Texas. I like Texas to win, but I like Oklahoma +7.5.
Okay.
Both teams trying to figure out who the quarterback is.
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of question marks. That's the only
thing that worries me.
Yeah, a lot of question marks in that game. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
And then my final leg, I've got Notre Dame -3.5 against BYU.
That's easy. I think that's a given too. I'm actually shocked that the line is as close as it is. I think it's going to be a couple score game personally. So
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
Stymie's got Tennessee -3. That's of course against LSU.
Yep.
Georgia -29.5. Who are they playing? I know it's an SEC game.
Georgia's playing Auburn.
Auburn. Yeah. I was thinking it might be.
And I don't know if this is right, but they've got Georgia as a 30-point favorite. 30.
Wow.
Against Auburn. Like, yikes.
Iowa State +2, and then he's got Notre Dame -3.5.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can book it that I'm going to take Notre Dame minus the 3.5. That's a guarantee because I think that's easy money. I was also going to take Tennessee minus the 3. I think that's easy money as well. This is a quote unquote big game, right? And we all know how well Brian Kelly does in big games, and he's got a couple top 10 opponents here coming up.
he does. Getting a lot tougher.
And it's a home game, but it's also at 11 o'clock in the morning. And so you're not going to have your Death Valley home crowd.
And that's what I like. That's why I, especially, with Tennessee going in there, I like if this would have been a night game, I might have thought, a little bit longer about LSU winning. But I like the fact that this is actually a morning game for Tennessee going in there.
Yep, I do too. And I think that Tennessee, I think they're going to blow the doors off of them, frankly. And so I will take Tennessee minus the 3 and take that all day long.
By the way, just be glad we don't have any 11 a.m. local time kickoffs. Man, could you believe that?
Oh my gosh, that would be horrible. Well, it would be bad.
I guess I had them when I was at Kansas, but nobody went to the football games.
That's fair. What I will say is it would have been bad if I was still doing the pregame show that I used to be doing because we always did it 5 hours beforehand. And that would have been a very, very early show. It was an 11 o'clock local time kickoff.
Last Kansas football game I went to, by the way, Priest Holmes
and
Ricky Williams were both still playing for Texas. It was Texas at Kansas. It was the year after I graduated, and I got season tickets because they were actually decent. And then Glenn Mason left, and they were not good for a while.
Wow. That's
it's
been
a
way
while.
back machine, buddy boy.
It has been. All right. Do you buy or sell a Notre Dame wide receiver having a 100-yard receiving game this season?
You took me away. I was going to go with a couple more picks, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm taking Purdue plus the 3 over Maryland.
Okay.
I don't know how Purdue is an underdog in that game, but I know we're running short on time, so you don't need you can't have me going through all of these picks, but I don't see how Purdue is an underdog. I know it's on the road, but I thought Purdue has played decently well. So far. I'm taking Auburn plus the 30. I'm taking Auburn plus the 30, Sean. I'm sorry. I know that Georgia's really good. I know Auburn's bad, but an SEC game winning by 30? I don't know.
What was the spread on that Missouri game last week? Before Missouri took them to the end.
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
I know it had to be at least a couple touchdowns.
Right. It had to have been, right? It had to have been.
Yeah, because Drinkwitz is one of those guys, at Missouri who has there's been hot seat talk with him after the start they've had. Maybe that saves him some, even though they lost still, if he can manage some kind of season. But I that's not a bad pick. That Auburn.
I mean, that's just a lot of points, man. That's just a lot of points. Now watch, Georgia's going to blow the doors off of them, but that's a lot of points to be giving up in a true SEC game. You know what I mean? So, and then my last one, I like what Oklahoma State has been doing. I picked them to beat Baylor. Obviously, they did that. They are favored by 9.5. I'll take Oklahoma State minus the 9.5 against Texas Tech at home. So that'll be my last leg.
Yeah, that's one. Texas Tech, they snuck up on Oklahoma a couple of weeks ago.
They did.
That's what, trying to see how that Big 12, sometimes you just don't, it's like you can't figure them out from week to week.
Agreed.
Sometimes. I do think Oklahoma State is probably the best team in the conference, but I think this is kind of one that I'm seeing, okay, is something going to sneak up on them? Because I think if something's going to sneak up on them, this is probably the week.
And it's funny because I was looking at the SEC lines, and Ole Miss is only favored by 17 over Vanderbilt, number one. Okay, so they don't. So the biggest spread doesn't involve Vanderbilt, which I think is something to at least take note of. And then also in the Big Ten, poor Michigan State Spartans, man, they got Ohio State, and they are 27-point dogs against the Buckeyes. Whoa.
Still hard to feel sorry for Sparty. But
I get you. I see where you're coming from, but man, 27 points at home. You're at home and you're a 27-point dog. Yikes.
Yep.
So anyway.
All right. So is that it?
That's it.
You got yours out? Okay.
I'm in.
All right.
All right.
So now we're on to the next question. Buy or sell a Notre Dame wide receiver having a 100-yard game this season.
I don't see that happening. No chance, no way, no how. Drew Pine is not, I don't think he's going to lock into anybody outside of maybe Michael Mayer, but I don't see him, busting a bunch of yards. He's going to be your third down guy. Maybe he gets one down the seam for 40 or something like that. I don't see him going 100. It's a hard sell for me.
I've just got to think that one guy on this team, Lorenzo Styles, has got to be good for 100-yard game.
It's possible
at some point this season, right? I mean, at least he inched a little bit closer against North Carolina a couple of weeks ago. So all right. I'm gonna reluctantly buy because we're only talking about one. We're talking about 12 games. We're talking about one 100-yard game. Brian throwing a little shade on Salerno.
Ouch. Poor Matt.
Can't do it. I'm gonna buy. I have no real reason other than the law of averages says it's got to happen at some point.
Right. That's funny.
Almost got to happen anyway.
Yeah. So absolutely.
I'm throwing a bonus question in for you on the subject of wide receivers that you weren't ready for.
That's okay. Yeah, I didn't do my homework anyway.
Well,
so
that's true. That's good point.
They're all ones I'm not ready for.
Scale of 1 to 10. How confident are you we see Tobias Merriweather on the field Saturday night?
6. I'm going to go 6. I just feel like for whatever reason over the bye, people are really starting to pepper the staff about Tobias Merriweather. Okay. And I'm not saying that the media plays into the depth chart and playing guys and all of that, but I just feel like because the heat has kind of turned up recently, I think we're going to see him. I think his little package or whatever Tommy Rees was talking about, I think we see it, and I think he gets some targets too.
The heat turned up on Chris Tyree. Remember, after the first 2 games, the questions started coming. How does Chris Tyree see the field? Marcus Freeman was getting the questions. Tommy Rees was getting the questions. And then all of a sudden, what's happened the last couple games? Coincidence? Was it like, were they thinking it too? I mean, surely, again, like they've got to see this guy with this talent and this skill set that nobody else has. And I'm going to go 4. We have seen him once. What's it going to look like? I guess, what's this special package that we weren't able to, get to because of game flow? What exactly does this look like? I just keep going back to the fact that I've seen somebody else say it, it's like, run a freaking go route. It's not that hard.
It's really not. That's the thing. It's really not that hard to teach a receiver to do certain things. It's just not.
Yep. I agree. Fill in the blank. A decisive win over BYU would make you feel blank for the rest of Notre Dame's season.
I mean, it would make me feel optimistic about the way things are going. I mean, I would feel, confident that they're still taking steps in the right direction. And that's what a decisive win would be. It would be another step in the right direction. I think they're a couple touchdown team better than BYU, to be honest with you. And so I guess it depends on what your definition of a decisive win is. But at the same time, I think that's what they should do if they're continuing to progress the way we think they should be progressing. If they want to have any shot against Clemson or USC down the stretch in November, that's what they need to do. They need to take care of business against BYU. And in my humble opinion, taking care of business is a decisive win. It's a couple touchdowns. That's what you should do to BYU. So it would make me feel confident and optimistic that they're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, to me, it would make me feel like this team is on the right track. It's at least getting closer to the team that we thought it was going to be. You're never going to be able to erase the loss to Marshall and what happened those first couple of games.
No doubt.
But again, like decisive, I'm saying, around a couple touchdowns, basically whatever that ends up being. Because again, this is not a horrible BYU team by any means. Now, it is a BYU team that Notre Dame should have a decisive advantage against down in the trenches, where this game I think is going to be won and lost. And if they own those trenches, I think Notre Dame is going to do exactly what they want to do. And if they do that, that would tell me that this is a team going in the right direction, and we can start that we have reason to feel better about, because then again, you've got 3 more games then leading up to Clemson. And, like I was saying before, it's not that you're going to overlook any of these opponents, but every week leading up to Clemson is just going to be, are they getting better? Are they improving enough to make you feel like they've got a chance to beat that team in orange in November?
Yep. Agreed.
All right. So this is the 11th Shamrock Series game this weekend. Question to you: where would you like to see the Shamrock Series played next?
So I've thought about this from before because we kind of had a show about, the Shamrock Series when they debuted the jerseys and all of that stuff. And so, I've been thinking about this, and obviously this is already on the schedule, but like they've gone to a lot of places, okay? And they've gone to a lot of historic places, right? They've gone to Yankee Stadium. They've gone to Boston. They've gone to Soldier Field. I'm really excited about them going up to where the Packers play, right? Mm-hmm. I am excited about that. That is a bucket list one for me, to go up there and watch that game. Other than that, I try to think of like historic places that they could go. I wouldn't mind seeing them go play like in Kansas City, for example. I think that one could be kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, like, is there any NFL stadium that I would really want to go see? Obviously, the glitz and the glamour of obviously Vegas, check that one off. I mean, that's a beautiful stadium that they get to go play in. Other than that, I mean, they've done the baseball thing. They've done the football thing. Soccer stadiums in the United States aren't that big of a deal. They go over to Ireland already. It's not technically a Shamrock Series, but they go over there already. Maybe they go to, a massive stadium in like Mexico, or something like that. Football is actually pretty big down there, right?
Yeah. And we've got that reporter from Mexico who shows up every year or two asking about playing down there, So.
No, I mean, I think that's legit though. I think that one could actually be a lot of fun if they do it right. But other than that, I mean, maybe another country or something like that. But as far as the United States go, there's not a whole lot of other stadiums that I would want to see checked off the list. I think Lambeau is probably one of the top ones, and they're going to do that. So, yeah, I don't know that there's a whole lot else out there. What do you got?
I kind of Seattle is one that's always kind of, like they haven't played in that. I guess they've played Washington up there, at Husky Stadium and all that. But I think it's called like Lumen Field or something like that now that the Seahawks play. And it's, just like everybody, it changes quite a bit. I wouldn't mind seeing that, or like even San Francisco, where the Giants play, not
interesting.
Like in in another baseball park.
Sure.
Because that's like the problem with a lot of these newer stadiums is there's not another Lambeau Field, for example.
Exactly.
Like most of them are relatively, even though they're nice, they're relatively cookie cutter. There's nothing very unique about the setting. So that's why I think like even like Wrigley Field would be cool, but like they've obviously had issues there with the size of the field and all that different kind of stuff. And other teams have played there, so it's not as unique, I don't think, anymore. So that's why like San Francisco could be cool because of the setting, and you've got the the water right there beyond the outfield wall and all that kind of stuff. So I think one of those two places would be at least relatively unique anyway.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Like you are much more well-traveled in a sports, situation than I am. I mean, I'd love to go just about anywhere and watch Notre Dame play, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I think those would be fun.
Yep. All right. We've got time for one final question tonight. So Major League Baseball's playoffs start Friday with an expanded format. It is now a 12-team field. And instead of the winner-take-all wild card game, the wild card round is a best-of-3 series. And it's also played in one park. You don't travel back and forth. It's like the team with the better record gets to host at least 2 games, if not all 3. So do you buy or sell this new baseball playoff format?
This might surprise you because I'm so anti everybody gets a medal and everybody gets a trophy nonsense, right? But I actually like the fact that they're doing a wild card series as opposed to a one game.
Yes.
Baseball is about series. I mean, because you know this as well as I do when it comes to baseball, right? Because we both coach. You're only as good as your starting pitcher. I mean, let's be honest. A team looks completely different depending on who is on the mound. And I like when you have a series, to be honest. I think that shows really who the better team is because you get an opportunity to, at the very least, see two pitchers, right? I would like maybe even a 5-game series if I'm being honest, but then you're really extending out the playoffs, and I get that. But, I like the series as opposed to the one-gamer. I really do. So if that's what it takes, then so be it.
Yeah, I like it because what I've always said, they had to expand it, obviously, to get it so they could have this kind of format. But I've always said if you're going to have more than just the division winners in the playoffs, if you're going to allow second place teams and even third place teams to be in the playoffs, you need to give an advantage to the two best teams over the course of, it's cliche, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a 162 game season. And as you expand the playoffs, it waters it down. You need to give a true advantage to the two best teams in each league. And by doing a 2 out of 3 series, you're guaranteeing that the team that wins that 2 out of 3 is going to have to use at least 2, if not 3 starting pitchers before they have to move on and play one of the top 2 teams in the next round. So that's why I like it.
Oh, there you go. I like that though. I like that. It gives the advantage to the team that actually won and doesn't have to be a wild card.
That's
I get that. I like that.
By the way, I don't know if you saw this today. Buck Showalter of the Mets is toying with not pitching Jacob deGrom in their wild card series against the Padres because they have to play the Padres, or they have to play the Dodgers rather, in the second round. So he's trying to position himself. He said he would only use deGrom if it came to an elimination situation. So
game
if
3.
they lose game 1, or whatever. Yeah. If they're forced into that. But I think that's very interesting that he's kind of more or less sending a message to the Padres that he thinks he can beat him without, using his best guy to begin with.
I hate to say it, but he's probably right. And I really don't have a problem with that. That's some pretty solid strategy, frankly. I kind of like it. I kind of dig it.
Yeah.
I've always liked Buck though. He's just a little bit out there. And
I do
too.
I've always liked him.
I'm kind of a fan. So I'm on board. I like it.
Yep. Salty with a place to play suggestion. 3 Mile Island or Alcatraz.
Wow.
One of the two. Yeah.
Yikes. Could you put a football field out there though? Wouldn't you have to tear down the buildings, or I don't know.
Might as well just go play on Guam, like
yeah, right. The Rock.
That's right.
That's hilarious.
All right, Vince, great stuff as always. You and I will be back Saturday morning. IB countdown to kickoff as we ramp up. We'll get the early morning show, 10 o'clock Saturday morning, and of course a late night, 7:30. Yeah, not late night, but later night anyway. But
it's late enough, and you got the post game show going, so
that's right.
It's definitely a late night.
That's right.